So hi, my name is Cujo. So recently I've been on 2 successful dates, well, in my opinion, with a girl that I've been going on dates with. I want to kind of like talk about an old mindset that I had when I first approached dating compared to the mindset that I have now. And hopefully this will be genuinely good advice for like young men or women out there that listen to this who are getting into the dating scene. And I just want to give the best advice that I possibly could for anybody just looking to get into dating. I grew up in a very small town in the Midwest, and what I was surrounded by was like really toxic gender roles, basically, where like men really have to push for women and almost like push themselves onto women. And the culture that I grew up with in my town was like, basically, if you're a man and you want a girl, you have to like obtain this girl or this person. So like it led to me when I was a lot younger, I had this weird thing where I thought when I was alone with women and like they wanted to spend time with me that like I had to make a move. So basically like if they were implying that they liked me, like I had to, without any warning, like kiss them or like make more affectionate steps towards them if I was interested and if they were interested. And I just don't think that that's healthy whatsoever. But it's also been like marketed to us in like the content that we consume in like movies and all this type of stuff. Basically, I'm just saying this stuff is child's play, okay? No, I think like people have fun in the ambiguity of dating, of like, oh, does this person like me or do they not like me? And then people think you have to take such a drastic step out of the ambiguity, when I think that like what has made the current me's dating a lot more successful is boundaries have just been laid outright. And I used to hold a perspective of like, if you get hints that a woman likes you, you have to make moves and you have to make advances towards women, that you have to show them that you're interested. When I think as an adult now, the only thing that I'm really concerned with is being the most virtuous person that I possibly can be, the best person that I can be for the people around me and the people in my life. And I think that stems from everything that I do with like music, with these videos, and in dating, and just the way I move through the world, the work that I do. My concern is to be just of utmost importance to the people around me and out in the world. That's where I get self-satisfaction. It's selfish, but in a selfless way. So to give men and women advice on how to get good dating out there, it is gonna be the hardest advice that I give, like the most harshest. Not harsh, but it's gonna be hard to execute because it just takes a lot of courage to do what I say to do. And if you're interested in a person, you just have to be honest. That's the advice. And I think people hate to hear this because they think that there's like quick fixes, like one-liners and ways to get people to go out with you and date you. But you just have to be honest about your intentions. So if you're interested in someone, you have to be able to look them basically in the eye and be like, you know, I think I would be interested in leveling up our relationship. Or if you don't know them, just invite them to go do something. Like, hey, you see this cute girl in the bookstore, you go up to her. You have to be honest. I saw you across from the bookstore and I thought that you looked really neat with whatever clothes you're wearing, or I just thought that your hair and complexion is just very nice. I thought I would just like to invite you to go out to dinner or grab coffee. Just anything like that, and get to know you a bit more. It's just the way that you phrase it and the way that you talk. But I think people overcomplicate it, and courage, I think, is something that's built up. Like, if you're not a very courageous person, you're not gonna just be able to walk up to random people and ask them out. But little acts of courage, like tiptoeing out of your comfort zone, doing little acts of courage. If you just do that consistently every day, you just try to do something a little bit more different than what you're normally used to, you can work up to the point where you're talking casually with people and you don't even think about asking them if they would like to go do stuff. I think that like society has this thing where like people place particular like roles and titles and dynamics to things, when I think people are multi-complex. Like, I don't think the friend zone exists. And the reason I say that the friend zone doesn't exist is because saying that you're placed in the friend zone, it's not really like a thing to like hold on to you. Like, either this person sees you as a friend, sees you as nothing, or sees you as a potential romantic interest. But those things can fluctuate. Like, they're not a set thing. And I think if you're to understand that about people, men or women, like I think that both genders would quit putting each other on top of a pedestal, because it's like, regardless of what your sexuality is, people are just people at the end of the day. Talking to someone is like talking to a potential best friend, or maybe even your lover, but having that approach is like already putting too much pressure on yourself. You should just treat everyone as a friend and just roll with life that way. Like, you shouldn't be going up and asking people on a date to be like, wow, this could be my one and only. Like, you should just really be approaching people with just a genuine interest to learn about the person that's across from you, to see if they could be a good friend of yours. And the answer to that question is, well, they're most probably gonna be a good friend of yours. But I think like so many men will just put women on pedestals. This is my perspective as a man, and like think that they're these deities, or like objectify them and think that all they are is just what their private parts are. And people forget that there's like a whole person behind like the deity or the woman that you hold in your mind. There's like a whole individual with their own fears, the own life that they're living, their own loves, the ups and downs, and like they've just really been out living life. This is why it's like so dangerous to play around with sex and trying to play around with people and win them over for like this superficial like manly game that we play as like a culture of men. It's just weird to me. I feel like I'm not articulating it that well, but basically saying that like there's this men culture where we don't treat women like people, like we objectify them, and then we get people like Andrew Tate who fuel the flame with gasoline and like just spread that like wildfire. Like, I don't know. And like the one thing that's gonna make you attractive to potential partners is just treating them like people and being available for them emotionally. And I just like, I'm surrounded by so much of not understanding that. Like, you just want to be friends with women. Like, just, it's the most shitty advice I could give, but just be yourself. And what I mean by that is just treat them as if it was your friend from high school. I bet you most people that watch this, the person they were dating, they ended up being friends with at least somewhat before they were dating, because it's just a lot more healthy to kind of know what you're jumping into. And I think women can be a lot smarter in this than men, because they're kind of forced to learn this early on with how much men throw themselves at women. But yeah, that's my advice. The best advice I could give is to treat the potential person that you want to take on a date or be friends with is, for one, am I okay with just being this person's friend, even if I'm attracted to them and interested in them? Because this is a healthy way to go about navigating relationships, is if I'm attracted to a person, I at least want to befriend them and figure out what they're about before just going gun-ho, because I think this is something I struggled with when I was a young teen, as well as other teens out there struggle with, and that this person is human. It's not like they're the end-all be-all and they have to lay judgment on me and I have to completely change who I am in order to like win them over, like shapeshift around trying to get them to like me. Like, in fact, it makes you the least attractive. To me, I think the way you can make yourself the most available as a partner is to try to live your life through virtue and trying to just be not a nice guy, but a good guy. What do I mean by nice guy and good guy? Nice guy is the person who tries to change who he is in order to win the women over. And the good guy knows who he is, regardless if he attracts anybody or not. He is content with either being alone or being around like-minded people who are also on the journey of trying to just be the best amount of good that they can be, regardless of what that looks like. So that's my advice for you dating, and this can be applied for women too. It's not just men. I'm just a man, so I'm relaying my experience as a man. But try to be a good guy. Don't be a nice guy. Really, thank you for taking the time to listen to this. I am actually recording this right after the second date that I've been on with this person. So this was just something that was really fresh on my mind, and I wanted to capture it because to me, this is, I think, the most that I've connected with a potential like romantic prospect. I could see the potential in it, but I've also approached it with just it being friendship. And this is the recommendation I have for people, because if I have the expectation of trying for it to become a romantic prospect, then my interactions with the person become weighted, when really I just want the energy. I just genuinely want to get to know the person, and I think that that's what you should just do, is if you genuinely date people you want to learn about. Doesn't have to be anything. But yeah, thank you, Cujo Gushin. I am spitting to the mic right now. I'm gonna go play some Yakuza, I think, and then work on some stuff for you guys. So thank you for taking the time to watch this video. I love you. Please let me know if this helps you in the comments, or really if you just have any questions for me. I want to try to help people the most that I can. So thank you and goodbye now.